What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Doctor Who Classic Review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 5th Doctor Peter Davison story, Enlightenment. This is the third and final story in the Black Guardian Trilogy. I've seen Mordred Undead, I've seen Terminus. This is Enlightenment, the final story in that trilogy of stories from season 20. A bit of a weird story, this one, because it's kind of one of these stories that a lot of people really love the story. They say it's one of Peter Davison's best stories, and then a lot of people say that it's one of the worst stories of all time. So this seems to be one of those stories that's just like, it completely splits the fandom, because I've literally heard I've heard people giving it 0s and 1s out of 10, and then I've heard of people giving it 9s and 10s out of 10. So it's one of those stories that, I don't know, it's just, you either love it or you hate it, I guess. So yeah, let's get on to this. This is Enlightenment by Barbara Clegg. Materializing on an Edwardian sailing yacht, the Doctor and his companions find themselves caught up in a mysterious and deadly race. The prize is enlightenment, the wisdom to find your heart's desire, and it quickly becomes clear that one of the crews will let nothing and no one stop them claiming victory. As the Black Guardian pressures Turlough to complete his side of their murderous pact, it seems that the Doctor may not survive to cross the finish line. So there you go, that is the little back of the DVD synopsis there. So yeah, final story in the Black Guardian trilogy. So this is, you know, the whole thing about with Turlough, how the Black Guardian wants Turlough to kill the Doctor, and it's kind of been going on since Mordred Undead through until Enlightenment. So this is kind of the wrap up of that. So I was interested to see what, you know, how this would all resolve and how it would all go. But anyway, let's start off this with the cast. Peter Davison as the 5th Doctor. I think he's very good in this one. Yeah, he has a few little funny moments. I like that moment where he like he flings the coin, throws the coin in the air, you know, to decide which corridor to go down, and he does it, and then he's like, I don't know about that. Does it again. It's the other way. Oh yeah, now I'm gonna go. So obviously he knew which way he wanted to go anyway, but he just, you know, I found that a little bit of a funny moment and a very Doctor thing to do. You know, trying to make a decision, but ultimately not liking the decision that was chosen for him, so going again, and then he gets the right decision. I just think that's such a Doctor-y thing to do, and it's a little scene, it's a really small little scene, but I thought it was quite amusing and just felt like the Doctor. And then all in all, Peter Davison himself, he's just very good in this one. I mean, it's not a standout performance by any means, but it's definitely good. It's one of his good performances for sure. I think he does great work here. So yeah, not a whole lot else to say there. Janet Fielding as Tegan Jovanka. Yeah, I actually do quite like Tegan in this story. She gets a decent amount to do, especially kind of in parts 3 and parts 4 when they go on to what's her name? Can't remember her name. The woman's ship. Is it Rack? Linda Barron? I think that's who it is. That's the only female name I'm seeing on this list anyway, so I'm gonna guess it's her ship, Rack's ship. When she goes on there, she kind of gets a bit to do there, gets a bit of talking going, and yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff. Actually, she looks amazing in this story as well. Can I just say that when she puts that like dress and the crown on? Yep, she's looking good there. But yeah, all in all, Janet Fielding, very good as Tegan Jovanka, as she usually is. Tegan's not my favourite companion, but I think she does a decent enough job here. And then Mark Strickson as Vizsla Turlough is also pretty good in this one. Couple of kind of, I think, slightly overacted moments. I think when he's in that, you know, like the vacuum chamber thing, and he thinks he's about to die before the Doctor saves him, he starts yelling out "help me," and then he starts yelling out "Doctor, Doctor, help me." I think it's a little bit overacted. He's a bit too. It's a little bit too overdone, I think, personally. But apart from that, I do quite like Turlough. I think he's a decent enough character. Not one of the best, but he's good enough. And he has, I mean, this whole trilogy is literally his story arc. So yeah, I do quite like him in this one. Alright, so getting on to the good and the bad, starting off with the good. The ship is actually in space and not at sea. Now, I already knew this, even though I have actually seen this story before, but I can't remember anything about it. So it's basically like me going into it for the first time. But just because I kind of know Doctor Who, and from the, you know, the cover and everything, and just things that I've heard, I knew that the ship was in space anyway. So the cliffhanger and all that, and the oh my god, it's ships in space. Yeah, it's a cool concept and I like it, and I think for people first watching it and not knowing about it, it would have been a nice little thing. Especially because throughout the episode before that, they had, you know, the ship moving around like it would if you were on water. You know, kind of believing, oh yeah, this ship's it's just a normal ship, but no, it's actually in space. Yeah, it's a bit kind of like, oh, you kind of see it coming, but I think it's still a decent enough little twist in there. A space race where all the ships look like they're from different periods in time. I thought that's actually a really cool little thing there. Now the whole thing with the space race I do find quite interesting. They tried to do this in Series 11, the newest series of Doctor Who, with the story The Ghost Monument. Personally, I don't really like The Ghost Monument. I think it's honestly a little bit overrated. People seem to quite like it. I'm not a massive fan. I find that the beginning and the end's pretty good, but in between it's just a massive bore fest. And they did a space racing there, but honestly I don't think they did it very well. Whereas this, I find, did it really well and mixed it up a lot by having all these, you know, old ships from old times. You know, you've got the kind of barbaric times with the woman that I was talking about. You've got, you know, the old sailors, like where they originally land on the ship. Then you've got like a Greek ship or something, and then there's like an Egyptian ship, I think. You know, there's all these different ships from different periods in time, but they're not actually from that time. It's an interesting little concept, and I found that it was a bit more interesting. If it was just like, you know, futuristic ships just flying around and racing each other, it wouldn't have been as interesting, but I think this gives it a little bit more and makes it more entertaining to watch. Some pretty good model and CGI shots. Now, I watched the standard version of this. If you get the DVD of this in the Black Guardian Trilogy, you get two versions. You get your normal, the one that was aired, the 4-part standard edition, and then you get what I think is just kind of a movie long, you know, like it's either in 2 parts or it's just all one thing. And it's got improved model and CGI work, you know, updated. I haven't watched that one yet. I've just gone for the standard one because for the review I kind of want to watch it as close to it being as it was at the time. So that's why I've gone for the standard one this time. I'll watch the special effects special edition version next time. But even in this version, I think the models and some of the CGI, there were bits that weren't great, like when Turlo was flying in space a bit, and a few things like that looked pretty crappy. But everything else, though, the model shots of the ships look really good, I think, for the time at least. And there was some decent CGI in there. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible either. It didn't put me off, so that's always a good thing. Also, another thing, I really like the music score in this one. Very unique music score. You know, you've kind of got that swashbuckling sort of pirate sort of old-timey music, which works very well for this setting. And then you've just got some just different sort of music, and I like it because it just sounds very unique. It's not, you get a lot of the same music in classic Doctor Who, you know, respected to their time periods, you know, whether it's the 70s, the 80s, they all kind of have their set music. It's just nice. This one just seems to have a bit of a different score to it, and I do quite appreciate that, and you know, I actually really enjoyed it. The Black and White Guardians being the ones to gift Enlightenment, I thought was pretty interesting, you know. I will say that I think the Black Guardian is the best in this story than he has been in, like, out of all 3. He actually doesn't appear that much in this story, apart from at the end, and a little bit in between at the beginning, but mainly at the end. But I just feel like, I felt like in Terminus especially, he wasn't really needed. He was just kind of there. He just popped in now and again. I think in Mordred Undead it worked a bit better because it was kind of setting up Turlo as well, and then this one is rounding it off. In Terminus, it just kind of felt like it was a story in between that they just kind of threw him in. So yeah, I actually really like the Black Guardian. Well, I say I really like the Black Guardian. I liked the way they implemented him into the story. As for the Black Guardian himself, I can take him or leave him. The actor, I think, is a bit strange. You know, the way he like laughs and stuff is very campy and a bit off-putting to me, so I don't really like that. But the whole kind of last sequence though was pretty cool with the Black and the White Guardian, and yeah, that was all good. And then going on with that, Turlo destroying the Black Guardian, you know, he has to make a choice. Does he go with the Black Guardian and choose to give the Doctor the Black Guardian, basically killing the Doctor, or does he, and in return getting Enlightenment and all these riches and all this money and all this stuff, or does he just go, no, I'm going to stay with the Doctor, not kill him, and instead basically he kills the Black Guardian, but apparently he's not actually dead, because something about when the White Guardian's alive, the Black Guardian is still there as well somewhere. So I thought that was a pretty interesting thing. You know, it was nice to see Turlo finally decide, yep, you know what, I could do this, I could have all this money, do all these things, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want to kill the Doctor. He's helped me out too much, don't feel like that's what I should be doing, and he makes the right choice, and that's just really good. So on to the bad. I've actually only got one thing in here that I'm going to say is bad, and that is that it doesn't feel like they're in that much danger most of the time. Now, there was kind of a big thing of, oh, we're all in danger, there's all this going on, and there were, you know, there's like a ship blew up and all these other things happened, but to me, apart from kind of at the end with the, you know, with the kind of crystal thing, the red crystal, that was the only time I actually felt like our characters were in danger and they were, you know, they were kind of freaking out. The rest of the time, I didn't really feel like they were in danger. You know, I mean, there was that time when Turlo jumped off the ship, but I knew that he was going to get rescued, so it was like, it's alright. Yeah, it just didn't feel like our characters were in as much danger as they were kind of being perceived to be in. That's everything I have to say about Enlightenment, though. So yeah, what am I going to give Enlightenment out of 10? Well, some people might disagree with this. I may have people in the comments saying, what are you doing? But I'm going to give Enlightenment a 9 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed the story. It seems like I am one of the people that actually quite likes this one, not one of the people that absolutely hates it. I actually don't quite understand what the hatred for this story is. I've seen a lot of people give it really low ratings, like 1s out of 10. I don't know why. I think this is much better than Terminus. It's not a whole lot better than More Than Undead, but I think it is a decent amount better. I gave that an 8, I'm giving this a 9. But I think this is miles and miles above Terminus, and generally people seem to mostly regard Terminus a little bit higher than this one, and I don't see that at all. I find this one much more enjoyable. Just the thought and the story and the concept and everything, and even the way it's done, I think it's a relatively well-paced story most of the time as well, which is also a nice thing to see in classic Doctor Who, because generally a lot of stories are a little slower paced, even some of the best ones. So yeah, I don't really understand the hatred that some people give to this story, but hey, it's your opinion. I'll totally accept your opinion if you accept mine as well. So yeah, Enlightenment, a 9 out of 10. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe. Go into the description, follow me on Twitter, that would be great. And I'll see you guys in the next video.